Welcome to NHK's Radio English Conversation Program. I'm Marsha Krakauer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Clark. We're here to enjoy learning English together.
Kelly is talking to some female coworkers during their lunch break.
I'm afraid we'll have to put in some overtime Saturday morning.
That's fine with me. I'll be here at 8. My kids are spending the weekend at their grandparents'.
Gwen, if you can't find anyone to watch your baby, we'll try to find someone to replace you.
Thanks, but I can manage. There's a new daycare center that's open on weekends.
It's about time we had one.
Are you sure you want to come in on a Saturday? Work shouldn't stand in the way of your parental duties.
No problem. I'll make up for it on Sunday.
Isn't your husband off work on Saturday?
He's usually out the door by 5 on Saturdays. On his weekends off, he goes fishing.
Why is it that only men get to spend their free time without the family?
Some things never change. My husband has a 5-day work week, but he hasn't stopped to think that I work 7 days a week.
Don't your husbands ever share childcare and housework?
Oh, he's great help when I'm not there, but the minute I'm home, all the work is mine.
My husband does virtually nothing. He won't even clear the dishes and stack them in the sink.
It's pretty clear that women still shoulder most of the workload at home.
Sometimes it's a relief to work overtime.
It's a terrible thing to say, but that's the way I feel too.
I feel more pressured for time at home than at work.
Could that be because you spend so little time at home?
Could be. I structure my family time like an office appointment. 6 p.m. meal time, 8 to 9 p.m. homework time, 11 p.m. bedtime.
One thing's for sure, we certainly wouldn't be caught goofing off like this at home.
Okay, let's go on to working mothers.
Kelly and her coworkers, Gwen and Tracy, continue their conversation about their work.
It must be hectic juggling both work and motherhood.
Well, children can be very demanding when they're small.
Have you ever considered cutting back your work hours?
No, never. I can't afford to work shorter hours. We have 3 kids.
I can, but I must love my job. I only took a 10-week maternity leave.
You know, in Sweden, almost all fathers take parental leave. If I had children, I might be tempted to stay at home.
But I feel better about myself now than when I was a full-time homemaker.
That's good. It shows you're satisfied with your life.
I've regained my confidence at work.
Me too. I'm confident I can always get my job done at the office.
Right. When you're at home, it's not that easy to be perfect.
And even if you were, you'd seldom receive recognition.
Except on Mother's Day.
Do you think you're a good mom at home?
I think so. I'm a better mom at work, though.
What do you mean by that?
I get into arguments with my 15-year-old daughter all the time. But at work, I'm a lot better at seeing the other person's point of view.
Well, of course, family ties are so complicated.
I'm not good at resolving family quarrels.
You're not alone. I spend most of my energy at home repairing family relationships.
I knew I'd find you all here.
We were talking about working mothers coping with their daily lives.
Well, this should make you guilt-ridden mothers happy. We don't have to come in on Saturday. You'll have more time to spend with your family.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, what a shame.
Aren't you all glad?
We were just saying how work can be an escape from the pressures at home.
Aha! So you've discovered a great male secret.
Well, Jeff, talking about family time, according to an article I read, the average American family spends less than 30 minutes together for dinner these days. I remember meals used to be an hour-long ordeal when I was a child. It shows how family time has decreased over the years.
The pace of home life is speeding up, and it's probably because family members are too busy working all the time or enjoying home technology when they're not.
I tend to agree with people who say that children benefit greatly when they have a stay-at-home mom. But the perils of the modern family shouldn't be blamed entirely on the increase of working mothers.
Right.
I think fathers used to spend more quality time at home back then, too.
Yeah.
Fathers might not have done much housework, but they shared some of the workload at home in other ways.
I know my dad did. How about yours?
He did, too. For example, during our long summer vacations, every morning before he went to work, my father used to write up pages of math problems for my sister and I to solve. And in the evening, he would spend time correcting and explaining our mistakes.
Wow, he should have been a math teacher.
Really. And on weekends, he was always there to practice catch with us in the backyard. Quality time with the family didn't necessarily mean going on costly family trips, but simply being involved with each other.
Hey, the best things in life are free, and they don't necessarily need to be plugged in or switched on. And the next section talks about people who are finding this out. So let's listen to job openings.
Toby, Kelly, and Cynthia are back at Todd's weekend retreat.
Todd tells me you're working on a PhD.
Yes, in English.
He's been a graduate student with a part-time job for 5 years.
And I've just applied for another student loan, so I'm deeply in debt.
Will you be seeking a teaching position when you graduate?
If I can find a school that'll hire me, a teaching career at a public university would be ideal.
Aren't job openings in education scarce these days?
Yes, the job market couldn't be more competitive.
Why? Are there fewer students to teach?
Actually, student enrollment is increasing nationwide.
Do we have too many people with brand new doctorates?
Yep. On top of that, the Cold War is over.
What's the Cold War have to do with the job market?
There's less reason for the government to pour money into research and development at universities.
And without government subsidies, they can't hire us.
Shouldn't you start looking at other areas of employment, Toby?
I can't think of switching careers now.
How are recent graduates dealing with the crunch?
They're holding teaching positions that are only temporary.
A temporary job doesn't seem like the most promising place to begin a career.
But I really don't have much of a choice. I can't spend my life standing in the unemployment line.
How about a non-academic field? You have the qualifications to try publishing or advertising.
I lack the credentials to apply for those jobs.
What credentials?
Well, you see, there's a gap between academic and non-academic writing.
So I would be considered a beginner with little or no work experience. Just think what my starting salary would be.
You'd be so underpaid it wouldn't even be funny.
And I'd never be able to pay off my loan.
Okay, let's go on to a former investment banker.
Kelly, Toby, Cynthia, and Todd continue their conversation about jobs.
I've been contemplating whether I should find another job or stay.
Are you still having problems with your new boss?
She's critical of everything I do.
You're taking it too personally, Kelly.
Maybe. Still, I'd like to know where the well-paying jobs are these days.
Probably in high-tech industries and in banking.
Todd, you were once an investment banker with a firm on Wall Street, weren't you?
Yes, for nearly 15 years.
What was it like working in the financial world?
My life went by so fast, everything's a big blur.
How demanding was the job?
I used to work a straight 14-hour day.
14 hours? What a life!
Eventually, a typical workday stretched to 16 hours. And that's not counting the calls and faxes I answered from home.
You couldn't have had much of a family life.
Guess why my marriage ended up on the rocks.
You must have been earning a lot of money.
Oh, yes. I was living quite comfortably.
Did you know what you intended to do with your life?
I had no idea when I started. I just wanted to own an apartment, send my kid to private school, have a car, and take a vacation every now and then.
That's asking for a lot in New York. It's an expensive city to live in.
I soon realized that. Just my normal monthly expenses added up to $5,000.
That's more than I make in 6 months.
What made you decide to leave Wall Street?
I just wanted to slow down and figure out my life.
Very few people are able to do what you did, especially when you were earning so much income.
Well, it doesn't take much courage to quit if you have enough savings in the bank.
How much money does it take to tell your boss you've just had enough?
A lot, Kelly. Don't even think about it.
Now, putting in long hours at work, Jeff, I know you do. Clearly, in the 80s and early 90s, some of those people working in the financial world had become slaves to their jobs, mainly because their pursuit of a better quality of life was based on materialistic accomplishments. They were all under the false impression that if they slowed down, they were doomed to be failures in life.
Yeah.
But now, people are reevaluating those assumptions and choosing to spend more time away from the workplace, even if that means making less money.
You know, Marcia, a close friend of mine in Seattle, a university professor, has tried to cut back his work hours so he can write at home and play with his small daughter.
Good.
Well, but what's actually happened is that he often ends up doing just as much college work as before, only now he does it at home.
It's hard to avoid with email and the fax machine.
Right. And, basically he likes his work. It's not easy to get a balance, but at least people are trying.
Another good way to stay away from work is to find a pastime you can enjoy on the weekends.
True. And that's the topic for the following dialogues. Enjoy your pastime. Let's begin with the ride.